Ladies and gentlemen, your favorite Zionist prince coming to you live from the United States of America. Let's take a look at this clip from Douglas Murray. I am tall, the traveling clap.
Quite easy to understand because they say what their ambitions are. They say what their beliefs are. They've said it from their governing charter onwards. And you also have the advantage with Hamas that they, as it were, in trying to understand them, is that they tend to do what they say and act on what they believe. The primary aim of Hamas is to destroy the state of Israel and then see. They're not an unusual group, sadly. The bit of it that is hard for some people to understand, I think, is that they really do mean what they say, and that they really do mean what they say they want to do. And I give a number of examples in the book of this, but I mean, the most obvious is the case of Yahya Sinwar, the Hamas leader, who is generally regarded as having orchestrated and arranged the 7th of October. We know a fair amount about him because he was in prison in Israel in the 2000s for murdering Palestinians in Gaza. And he was released in the prisoner swap he's one of the more than 1,000 Palestinian prisoners inside Israel who was released in a swap for Gilad Shalit, the abducted Israeli soldier. And Yahya Sinwar, in prison in Israel, talked to, among others, a dentist who ended up saving his life because Yahya Sinwar had a brain tumor, and this dentist identified this and actually sent him to the hospital. And the Israelis famously removed the tumor and saved Sinwar's life. But this dentist used to speak to him in the prison, not very regularly, and has related, not least to the New York Times, his conversations with Sinwar. And Sinwar said in one of those conversations, he said, at the moment, you, Israel, are strong, but one day you'll be weak, and then I'll come. And that's what he did.
Is it a hatred of Israel, or is it a hatred of Jews? Is it on the level of nations or the level of religion?
Both. It's both. I mean, it originates from a religious mindset, but it's, of course, political as well. I mean, the Hamas Charter, of course, some people sort of think the Hamas Charter is of no significance, and I often notice this sleight of hand that people do. Again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Forget everything other than the most important basic things. But the Hamas Charter, among other things, quotes the hadith that the end times will not come until all of the rocks and the trees shout out, "Oh Muslim, there's a Jew behind me, come and kill him." And that is so. Hamas is both obviously anti-Israeli, obviously, and anti-Jewish, obviously. It's and by the way, I mean, one of the many painful stories I tell in the book, but is of the fact that so many of the people in the communities that they attacked, it's not as if there'd be a right community to attack and a wrong community to attack, but that many of the communities they attacked were communities which deeply dreamed of the idea of living in peace with their Palestinian neighbors. There's a woman whose name has become relatively famous certainly is famous inside Israel, Vivian Silva, who was a peace activist who spent every weekend driving Gazan children from the border to, if they had very rare medical needs that could not be seen attention to inside Gaza, would drive them to Israeli hospitals. And she spent every weekend doing that. Worked for all of the sort of left-wing peacenik organizations in Israel. And for a while after the 7th, her neighbors and others thought that she had been taken captive into Gaza, and actually there was a hostage poster for her, and there were appeals by the various peacenik organizations for Hamas to hand her over, but it turned out she'd been burned alive in her home, and this wasn't discovered for quite a long time because there was so little DNA left of her that it was very hard to identify the remains as being hers. So there were a lot of people in the Gaza envelope, as it's called in Israel, in the area around Gaza, who would have been the people who wanted to live peacefully with the Gazans someday. And there's a certain, among the many, it's not an irony, but just among the sort of pains of the day is that so overwhelmingly these are the people that Hamas brought hell to.
There's so many truths that Douglas points out to on his everyday analysis on the conflict, but a few to really point out to here. One, if you somehow take what Hamas says as a joke, or they're not serious, or they're just speaking in a provocative way, here's something we've learned in Israel. Because October 7th was terrible, but if you look at October 7th in a vacuum, and you don't look at what they had done over the years, like the tens of thousands of rockets that I remember every other year, them firing all willy-nilly at my grandma's house, at my cousin's house, at my family, to the places they claim to be liberating, to Al-Aqsa, to Jerusalem. They mean what they say. And if they had their way, and God bless that they don't, if they had their way, they would execute, they would kill in the most horrendous fashion every single Jew they can. That is a truth. Whether or not you want to believe that, Hassan Piker, or whether or not you want to justify it, that's on you. That's not on me. That's on you. You deal with that. But what I know is that they mean what they say. And so I'm going to take them seriously when they say it. And I'm going to fight them. I only fight in the media front of it, but I'm going to fight them as if they actually intend on killing me, because they do. They will kill me. They want to kill me, and they want to kill my family. So I take them seriously. And the other part of it is that Gazans and Palestinians in general are their own worst enemy. And if you scale this up, you see that this is very applicable to the Arab world at large. They are their own worst enemy. They are their number one own destructors. They are the people who hurt themselves the most. Arabs like to sit and complain and bitch, oh, it's America, it's the West, they're oppressing us, colonization. Cry me a river. Colonization was bad, and America's involvement and the West involvements in the Middle East, God knows, never helped anybody. But cry me a river. You guys have so much wealth, so many people, so much potential, so much capability, but all you do is murder each other, racist towards each other, and it's a constant cycle. We on this channel, we nonstop react to the Arab world and report on the Arab world. What was happening in Syria this week? Your Arab brothers and sisters, the Druze, you massacred them for none other reason than an AI video potentially saying that it may have insulted the Prophet Muhammad, one of their sheikhs. And for that, you go out and execute women and children and men sleeping in their beds and religious leaders, because that is who you are. And that is what a Palestinian identity falls into. No matter if these are your best friends across the border, the people who are willing to die for you, the people who are willing to help you and bring aid to you and have the most potential for peace with you, and I'm talking about the communities near the Gaza envelope, you would rather massacre them all in the name of a pipe dream called Palestine. Freeing Palestine, even if you know that that's going to cause the destruction of your entire community, and you know it in your heart, you're willing to go for it because you, my friend, are a fucking idiot. And sorry, not sorry. You may get it twisted, but don't get it twisted that on this channel and my ideology, I hate Arabs or I hate Muslims. It's not about that. Put the emotions on the side. If you heard how I speak about certain Jewish groups, you'd also think I hate Jewish people. Put the emotions on the side for just 1 second. I don't hate you, But I want to let you know, sincerely from my heart, when you are being an idiot, you have to know you're being a fucking idiot. Somebody needs to tell you. The UN's not doing their job. They're not telling you. Red Cross is not doing its job. They're not telling you. Amnesty International is not doing its job. It's not telling you. The EU is not telling you. The Arab League is not telling you. So guess what? That's why I'm here. Hello. You need to be called out for your shortcomings. If you're never called out for your shortcomings and you don't learn why you suck, you'll never be able to not suck. You'll never be able to improve your behavior. And that's all it is. There's no feelings involved here. So Douglas is correct about everything he says. Heed their warnings and take them seriously. When they say they want to kill all Jews, believe them when they say they want to kill all Jews. Do not infantilize Hamas and do not infantilize Palestinians. I will see you guys in the next one, and I love you long time. Goodbye, Klats.
If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.